Yeah, that's gotta be
It's
gorgeous.
gotta be awesome down there.
I'm sure it was.
Okay, now we're.
I'm sure it
Is
was.
he able to take pictures underwater?
Oh, yeah.
I wanna talk about the American Revolution, I'm still processing that.
Oh my gosh,
He must have a lot.
how beautiful.
Have they seen some manta rays yet, or
They did see some, yeah.
did they?
His, 4 days before his last dive, before his last dive, his camera got some water and
Oh,
it quit
man.
working, so he was very upset. But he still got a lot of pictures.
Well, it's kind of the danger you run when you're taking pictures underwater.
That's like, oh, nature.
There's a lot of disappointment going on down there, I'll tell you.
I would.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Thank you for showing those.
I would assume so.
All you see is a bunch of bubbles going up and
Yeah.
Hundreds of them.
You don't want to interpret what he's saying, huh?
I'm sure, yeah.
Have fun.
Well, I'm pretty sure I can
I
figure out.
would love to see those.
Yeah?
He's
I know that what a 4-letter bubble looks like. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's 23rd? Yeah, it is 23rd. All right. So, last Sunday of the church year. Advent begins next Sunday. So today we have these closing out readings. Actually, it's kind of, I like these readings. This is series C in the 3-year lectionary, so we have A, B, and C. So I like C's readings for the end. The other readings, usually when we get to the last Sunday of the church year, it's very much the kind of like what we've had a little bit of the Jesus's end of the world discourse. You're going to see things happening, and don't worry, the end is near. Blah blah blah, and you just get a whole bunch of that. The gospel for today, which I'm not preaching on, which is a shock, is Jesus on the cross, with them leading Jesus to the place of the cross, and then the one criminal, saying, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." So, I don't even remember this being the last reading for Series C, but we usually don't get that. So that's obviously a great text. But then Malachi. Malachi was good. I almost preached on this one. Your words have been hard against me, says the Lord. But you say, how have we spoken against you? You said it is vain to serve God. What is the profit of our keeping his charge or walking as in mourning before the Lord of hosts? And now we call the arrogant blessed. Evildoers not only prosper, but they put God to the test and they escape. So, God is speaking to his people and saying hey, you're saying such hard things about me, and you're saying well, what use is it to serve God? Look at what's going on. Look at the world. How can we serve a God who allows all of this? How can it possibly, how can it be good? So, your words have been hard against me. Then those who feared the Lord spoke with one another. The Lord paid attention and heard them, and a book of remembrance was written before him of those who feared the Lord and esteemed his name. They shall be mine, says the Lord of hosts, in the day when I make up my treasured possession, and I will spare them as man spares his son who serves him. Then once more you shall see the distinction between the righteous and the wicked, between one who serves God and one who does not serve him. So, what we see there is just we're looking out into the world to say this is bad. What's going on? This is horrible. God is useless. He's not doing what he's supposed to be doing, and basically we're judging God on account of what we see, which breaks down any distinction that there is between those out there doing evil and those in here who are basically telling God that he's useless. So God says, look, they're okay. Well, you know what? Those who fear me will esteem my name. They shall be mine. And on that day when I make up my treasured possession on the day of the Lord, I will spare those who know me, who call on me. and then you'll really see the distinction between righteous and wicked. It's kind of a very ominous sounding, like, just wait and you'll see who's really righteous and who's wicked, and you might be surprised. So that's a fun text right there. Personally, I wasn't feeling that one. I was feeling Colossians 1.
Purgatory.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Ham's on the board. Don't worry, we're blanking them out for the new year, so Pam only has to spend one day in purgatory. Paul was in there for weeks, so
I know.
I was getting comfortable. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. Everybody quiet.
Isn't this is the end of the church year, so doesn't that get?
Well, yeah. We'll wipe it all. I mean, this is just the last Sunday of the church here, you know. We're going to keep you all in suspense until next Saturday. So I chose to preach on Colossians chapter 1. This is definitely one of those Sundays where, you know, it's like, I don't care what you guys are going through. I need to hear this. Not that I don't care. I do care what you guys are going through. But I wasn't thinking like, man, what do they, from what I've, what I've been hearing around and what I've been dealing with here, what is it that you guys really, what's crystallized here? And usually for those Sundays, it's like, you know what? I think I need to hear this. And usually when I think I need to hear something, it comes out like, you know what? A lot of you probably did too. So this is a fun one. And I'm kind of interested to hear your take on this. So Colossians 1. The main kind of the lead in here is the first two verses. He has delivered us from the domain of darkness and transferred us to the kingdom of his beloved Son, in whom we have redemption, the forgiveness of sins. So we are delivered. And the nice thing is that it's all done. You know, we've been transferred, we've been delivered. It's done, it's accomplished. You know, Jesus on the cross, it is finished. So that's great. This is good. But, so from darkness, it's done. However, it still feels like darkness. There's still darkness. It's great to be told that we're delivered and transferred into the kingdom. Awesome. Redemption, forgiveness of sins. But, there's still darkness. And we're forgiven, but we still struggle with sin. We've talked about before the now and not yet. It's announced to us. God regards us as holy, but clearly we're not yet. On the last day, it'll all be made complete and fulfilled. But until then, we still struggle with it. And we still need to know, what is this? What do we do with it? How do we move forward in this kingdom and whatnot? And what I love about what Paul does here, and that's kind of what I lead into, is Paul doesn't say, so now do this. So now walk this way. So now imitate us in this matter. He says, okay, God has delivered us from the domain of darkness, transferred us in the kingdom of his beloved Son. We have redemption and forgiveness of sins. All right, so now what? And then he just launches into, this is who Jesus is. So his answer is, Jesus, but really, his identity. And it's big. He is the image of the invisible God, firstborn of all creation. By him all things were created, in him, in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities, all things were created through him and for him. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together. He is the head of the body, the church. He is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in everything he might be preeminent. For in him all the fullness of God was pleased to dwell, and through him to reconcile unto himself all things, whether on earth or in heaven, making peace. And there it is, by the blood of the cross. And I like this. I like this a lot. Because what do we do with that darkness? And Paul's answer is like, you don't get to do anything. Jesus gets to die for you. Jesus, big, huge, mighty creator, all this, the preeminent of all things, the firstborn from the dead, fullness of God, he dies for you. And I love how it connects with the thief on the cross, because you have Paul's description of Jesus in Colossians, like big, mighty Jesus. Like, Jesus has got you, this is his kingdom. And then you look, and Paul's whole thing is like, look at Jesus, look and see what he looks like. And then you look at the gospel, what does he look like? He's hung with criminals, he's crucified, he's mocked, he's just low. Excuse me. So yeah, that's, in Jesus and his identity, is our comfort. It's still dark. We still deal with darkness. We still deal with doubts and concerns and fears. But when we take our eyes off that and look at Jesus, that's where we see, like, okay. And probably the big theme that I have in my sermon is, where is it? In him all things hold together. And I think usually when I read that, I'm thinking of like he holds, like, kind of the picture of like if you were to let go of all things, like the picture would be if God was to like let go of all of creation in an instant, it's like nothing would be there. Everything would just blink out of existence. So like all things hold together. I think this cosmic sort of everything is being held together. But what I point out in the sermon is all things includes you and me.
Are you going to sing He's Got the Whole World in His
No,
Hands?
but I should.
Yes.
Honestly, I didn't even think about that.
You need to consult Judy.
I know. Well, I didn't know she was a poet until today, so I'm not that creative. But truly, just, yeah.
It's like uber cosmological.
Yeah. But like, honestly, for me, it's that all things in him, all things hold together. And when you bring it down to the personal, it's like, yeah, he holds you together, which, I mean, honestly, is what I need to hear more often than not, because I barely have a handle on most things in my life. I've got 4 teenagers. I mean,
Oh, God bless you.
I used to think he did.
How many?
I'm pretty sure he still does. And 3 girls, yeah. 3 girls. This is your future.
12 years down the line. I need to work on my beard. That's the main thing. That's missing.
Don't forget the tennis shoes.
Yeah.
Well, see, it stops growing up here, and just gravity takes its toll.
No, I'm supposed to be with fantastic hair. I don't know.
Yeah, you say that. Well,
To my own detriment. Pride come.
Give it 10 years when those little girls start to really start going. But yeah, there's just something about I don't know. We spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, like making sure, like, am I doing the, just really focusing inward and on ourselves. Are we doing it just right? Is this being done? And this is like, how do I know I'm saved? Well, you're doing this, you're doing that, and we always really go for all this other stuff. But this is, how do I know I'm saved? Jesus died for you. We can point to baptism, sure, but I mean, baptism is the thing that connects us to Christ. I mean, at the core, it's a stupid, easy Sunday school answer. The answer is Jesus. The answer to every question is Jesus. It's sad. I mean, not sadly. It's simply true. I mean, when you come down to it.
But you know what? There's a lot of guys out there named Jesus, and there's a lot of constructs about Jesus
Oh, sure.
in different churches. It's like, whoa, this is his identity.
Mm-hmm.
This is.
Well, I think that's exactly why Paul goes to, like, look at Jesus, not who we say he is. Look at who he says he is. Look at what he has done. you know, we can formulate a lot of things about what we think how Jesus would apply various things. But it's like, just look at what he did. Look at his compassion. Look at his mercy. Look at his love. Look at his calls to, you know, him and, you know, particularly, hey, you hypocrites, you you pit of vipers. You know, there's some hard words that we have to reckon with too. But you know, get back to him.
Could you connect this passage with John 1, saying, in him all things hold together?
Oh,
It's
sure.
like he being the logos, the,
Oh, yeah.
the hidden order behind all creation. And,
Absolutely.
this is a really interesting passage. It's one of the most strongest, it's the most strongest like creedal sort of statements about Jesus that it feels like we get anywhere in the
Oh yeah,
Bible.
absolutely. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's so dense and overarching, and yeah, just, you know, huge. But then it ends with making peace by the blood of his cross, and just brings it right back down. Like, yeah, and all of that, and how did he choose to exercise his greatness and his awesomeness and his, you know, his preeminence and his ruling and order over all things? He died for you. He gave up his life for you. It's just it's a great way to end the year. It's like, wow, pondering that for a second, and then we jump right back to Bethlehem and we start all over again. It's like, which I mean, honestly, just caps it even greater, because it's like, yeah, huge, and then we go back and like, okay, let's into the cross, and then the baby. we simplify it down there, and then it just. But yeah, I've needed to probably focus more on this lately. Just because, especially as in role as pastor, you know, especially the way our synod is right now, with people arguing, well, not people, pastors, arguing about this, that, and the other, and like, it's like, I just wanna,
Aren't they always?
yeah, they are.
Okay, so in the original Greek or whatever, he
Yes.
has delivered us from the dominion of darkness and transferred us to the kingdom of his beloved Son.
Mhm.
So the he there would be God the Father.
Yeah.
And then in the next paragraph, he is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. That's not God the Father again.
No, that's Jesus.
Now he's switching it to the Son. That's why I'm asking if in the original Greek it was
Oh,
the same pronoun.
I mean, I'd have to take a look and see what, I mean, it would have to be if like the particular tenses were exactly lined up, but I mean, it's
just so weird.
I mean, I wouldn't say grammatically, you need to sort of, it's just contextually, you read it, because, you know, the first he has delivered us to the kingdom of his beloved Son, so clearly,
That's
if
God the
he has a son, so that's God the Father.
Yeah.
And then he is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. Well, Jesus is often, you know, referred to as that. But then, of course, chaining that all together with finally making peace by the blood of the cross. Okay, we're talking about Jesus at that point.
So there should be like a little bracket. So he,
You
God the Father.
know, if you started with
He-
verse 15,
Jesus the
absolutely,
Son.
yeah, you could write in there Jesus.
Okay.
In fact, when in my sermon, when I read the first verse 13 and 14, I substitute God for he.
Perfect.
Because it's,
Okay.
yeah.
It's interesting that he calls him both the firstborn of all creation and then later the firstborn from the dead.
Yeah.
So he's the true Adam, right? The first
Yeah.
first man.
Alpha, Omega. I mean,
Yeah.
there you
But
have
then
that whole
also
connection
Adam
with,
fell and wasn't able to rise.
Yep.
He's then the one that actually became.
oh yeah, this is very deep. Yeah, all things created, thrones, dominions, rulers, authorities. I mean, just who do we owe our allegiance to? I mean, and you can't, I mean, nobody you can throw up there competes with that. All things were created through him and for him, which, I mean, good Lord, there's some good stewardship message there, just in terms of what we do with what we have, how we treat creation. I mean, this was created for him. We were, and then we are part of that. We were created for him. You know, all people. which, that informs our outreach and how we treat other people and interact with them. So there's a lot there. Like I said, all things hold together. You get really personal with that. Whenever you're feeling spiraling out of control, it's like I can't hold this stuff together. In Him, all things hold together. He holds you together. He is the head of the body of the church. I mean, thank God for that. I've spent way too much time lately talking to pastors, and they're a fun bunch. We're a fun bunch. I can't even say lately. I've got my issues, as you all are well aware of. But yeah, we tend to we lose sight of this, I think, quite a bit. Not sure what I want to say about that.
What Christian said about the logos, the word that he spoke. He is the spoken word, the incarnate. I remember reading this like for the first time, and my head about exploded. There's some verses that hit you like that, and it's just
Like in what sense? Just
the immensity.
Okay.
The incomprehensible immensity of it.
Mary,
Uh-huh.
she has a question.
What?
Oh, no, I was just thinking, were you thinking of John 1 in the beginning?
Yeah, that.
Was the word,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Right.
one of the most powerful
Yeah, that's one.
sentences,
Right.
yeah.
you know.
And
It almost brings you to tears.
yeah.
It's so powerful.
Mhm.
And then John, the upper
Yeah.
room discourse, I'm gonna keep them in my word.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You get it here with He is the image of the invisible God, right? This is the Word being the instantiation of God's thoughts, plans, ideas, salvation.
Yeah.
Here you see the image of God, like the image of God is revealed Himself through this. It's really
If you have a science background or a math background, it's just like you take that and you can see it in your discipline, you go, oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to see God, look at Jesus.
Well, there's a lot of hymns that were written for
Yeah. Yeah.
the church's one foundation,
Yeah. Sure.
for one.
I don't think we're doing that one today.
Immortal, invisible, God only wise.
I don't think we're doing that one today either. Yeah, we're not doing any of those.
I'm glad you
I should do the children's message, see if they know they can do an impromptu. He's got the whole world in his hands.
Oh, they love that. He's got the little itty babies in his hands.
Yeah.
He's got you and me.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot of really good stuff in here.
Yeah.
Anything else? Something jumping out at anybody?
Just in the second reading, we're talking?
Yep. Or I mean, hey, whatever. If there's anything else anywhere in any of these, sure.
Well, the last sentence in the first reading just jumps out.
Once more, you shall see the distinction between the righteous and the wicked, between one who serves God and one who does not serve Him. Yeah, I mean, I think I maybe that's me reading. Maybe I'm projecting here, but I kind of hear a distinct kind of like I think on that day, a lot of us will be surprised, and I mean I think that's kind of it's a warning and an encouragement, and this is kind of how law gospel works, is that for those who are worried. It's usually the ones who are so worried about I want to be serving God and I'm trying, but I'm worried that I'm not doing enough. I'm losing my faith, whatever. Those are the people who's if you are so worried, you're probably doing fine. Especially if you fear losing your faith. You can't be afraid of losing something if you've already lost it. I mean, So those
You
people are
feel
just like,
real secure, you better think twice.
but well, to a degree, you know, that sometimes we get a little bit overconfident, and we tend to go down our own paths of self righteousness, and you know, and I think there's truth to that. You know, I think. Yeah, I think. I mean, on that day, will we be surprised? Yeah, I mean, it's not like. I don't think you're going into heaven like, oh man, I can't believe they didn't make it. I think once you're there, it's just all that stuff is past. But you know, I think every day is a good day to reflect on that, and you know, where am I really going? Am I really? Am I heading towards Jesus here, or am I really just doubling back into myself? That's a good daily reflection. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff rolling around.
That's when you sing, "Breathe on me, breath of God."
There you go. You know, where were you when we were putting our hymns together for the worship? She was just saying, like, pick three. I don't know. Sin boldly. Anything else jumping out at you in particular?
Do you think that in the lectionary they paired the gospel with the first reading because, like, you've got the two criminals and one becomes righteous?
Oh,
and the
definitely.
other-
Yeah.
Yeah, usually the in the lectionary series, the old I think it's the Old Testament is always paired to the gospel, so there's always going to be a connection between those two. In the 3-year series, actually in both of them, the epistle may or may not connect. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. You just got to look at the lectionary. If there's a month or a handful of weeks where the epistle is just like it's kind of going through it, then that's just it's not connected at all. If there's any connections, it's accidental. Although I think this one, I mean, it's Colossians 1 on the last Sunday of the church year, so I'm pretty sure it was just picked out for this one. But I mean, that's kind of, I think there's a good kind of movement here. You know, the kind of Malachi is this warning, you know, hey, you who speak ill against the Lord, you know, on that day of the Lord, you shall see the distinction between righteous and wicked, and your eyes will be open, and you will see like what God sees, and it will probably surprise you. Oh no, what shall we do? Well, He's delivered you from the domain of darkness, transferred you to the kingdom of His beloved Son. Well, who is His beloved Son? Big, awesome, mighty Jesus, making peace by the blood of the cross, and then we see what that looks like. He's mocked, He's bruised, He's pierced, and He dies. Well, we don't get the death here, but go along with that. So I think it's actually a pretty good progression there.
It's nice that, yeah, the first one it's saying there'll be the wicked and there'll be the evildoers and those who act the work of God, and then it shows you who God is, right? Like
Yeah.
the gospel or the epistle reading.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you do get this like Lee said, these two people
Mhm.
who have to make that choice, right? One of them sees Him in the correct way and one doesn't.
Right. Yeah, and really at the cross you said, well, the world sees 3 wicked people.
Mm.
You know, Jesus is hung with criminals. He's wicked too. And the criminals are very wicked. But obviously we know that Jesus is the one who is truly holy. And then the criminal goes from, you know, not to say that we know what his faith was before this, but I mean, comes to faith, or at least, you know, calls on Jesus in his last moment, remember me, and he's brought, so he is made righteous with Jesus' blood right there next to him. So yeah, I mean, you could probably do a whole like thing using all 3 texts, but that's a lot. I don't want to preach for a half hour. I'm pretty sure you don't want me to either. That would be a lot.
We'd all start singing.
Yeah.
Exit music.
Yeah.
Oscar.
Yeah.
You just start singing a hymn
Yeah.
quietly.
I know.
Yeah.
I swear. I know. I've told this before, but we had my home pastor, and he was a pastor for a long time. Then we got an associate. He was a sweet guy. And we did we had the thing where, you know, when pastor got to like the ending, the conclusion part of the sermon, our worship leader would start playing like the nice soft music before, you know, the nice piano,
Yeah.
kind of bringing it to that little moment. And everything was fine. So one day the associate was preaching, and he's like right in the middle of his message, and all of a sudden the music starts playing.
Time's up.
Well, yeah, and it was funny because he was like, he looks over at our worship leader, and for a moment there was like no connection whatsoever until he finally realized. And the thing that I guess what happened was apparently they had like a certain hand signal or something that would like indicate, okay, start playing the music now. So apparently he just absentmindedly like did it as part of his sermon. So the worship leader was like, he was on it and started playing them off. And he's like, nope, I still got like half to go. Which is another reason why I don't like doing that, because I'm like, it's gonna, one of these days it's just gonna be like that. All right, anything else? Yeah, I can go on a rant, but I don't know if that's edifying. Yeah, the sermon kind of is couched in just this whole idea of darkness. Just that, especially, you know, this time of year, things get darker.
Well, maybe that's one reason why we have Thanksgiving, is because when things get dark, we need to pray all the more.
Oh, absolutely. That's essentially kind of where I'm kind of going with that. Is like when there's your light, and you know, it's well, I had one part of my sermon or one version of it where I was going to bring up porch pumpkins again, but I don't want to do that. Where you start seeing things over and over again, and you just start to get blind to the stuff. If you weren't here for porch pumpkins, that was at seminary. We had, after Halloween, we left the pumpkins out on the porch, and Heather thought I was going to take care of them. And
Right around July.
yeah, I thought she was going to take care of them, and after like 3 months, and they're all like just disintegrating. Every time one of us would come in and be like, and then we started to think like, well, I don't know why, but she must have a plan, and this must be part of it because she hasn't dealt with this yet. And when she would come home, he's like, well, he must have a plan, because how can you see this and not deal with it? And then after about 4 months, it was like, somebody go do something. Like, I thought you were. Oh Lord, because we just, you know, we stopped for most of the part. We just stopped seeing this rotten, stinking pile of melted pumpkin that was now.
No deer came to eat.
New life was sprouting out from it.
I thought of that yesterday when I was out walking in the evening and I saw the porch pumpkin still. And I thought, I don't remember the point of that sermon, but man, I feel like a porch pumpkin. When's God gonna do something?
Same here. I don't remember what that sermon was.
Sorry.
No. You know, there's two ways to look at sermons. Either I want you to really remember, like, I want you to remember this point and I want it to keep coming back to you. Or I want you to hear it in the moment. I want it to, like, relieve you in this moment. And I'm able. And I want you to just take it and then move on and go about your life. I've never seen someone so happy to be in Sunday school.
I know.
Because she's got the
I
hard
thought she was
question.
young.
Yeah. You're just happy to be here.
We remember visuals.
Yeah, I don't have too many. No visuals today.
She's just going up so fast.
Yeah, she is.
You're not gonna drive.
Oh no, I'm officially done because I can't even focus or concentrate. Like, and what does Mabel like to do?
I do have a question about the gospel reading.
Oh.
Now that Mabel's here, we can do some.
All right, I'll try to focus, but.
So this is like a roundabout question. It's like the thief on the cross.
Yes.
Like this was kind of before, like the Lord's Supper had been instituted, but like there not been the command to go baptize. Like in a sense, like he's still kind of the thief on the cross, still kind of operating under like the old covenant in some sense. Like there's like a it's kind of like the like old covenant, new covenant, like kind of.
The curtain's not torn yet.
Right. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
kind of midstream, but.
Well, he hasn't died, yeah.
Right, exactly. And so like it's still obviously it's perspective to the next
Right.
hour when Jesus dies, but like that got me thinking though of the fact that like for us today we would say that like a baptism, the Lord's Supper provides forgiveness of sins.
Right.
But we wouldn't give the same credence to any of the Mosaic
Right.
law. We wouldn't say circumcision, forgive sins. That's a whole thing that Paul rails against a lot. And so like this question of like for the Old Testament believers,
Right.
was it solely a insubstantial, like a non-substantial, like kind of like thing to have faith? Like there wasn't kind of the same like object we talk about, like objective means of grace, like kind of having these like objects which God
Right.
delivers His grace. Like because we wouldn't say any part of the Mosaic law justified. Like was it entirely insubstantial then? Like kind of it was just like kind of like I believe in like
Sorry.
Jesus who is
Right.
coming, in like in the rough kind of promised sense, like, or is there any sense that there's like a material?
Right. No, I think it's virtually the same. It's faith because,
Right.
So circumcision, kind of like with Paul, circumcision in and of itself was not a thing. It was what it was pointing ahead to.
Yeah.
And all that. So and really they have the Mosaic law and all that and like okay all these things and then Jesus, I mean. And he says, I have not come to abolish the law.
Yeah.
So he just boils it down to like, look, it's all summed up in love your neighbor.
Right.
And you're freed from the strictures of the exact, like, well, don't serve your neighbor bacon.
Right.
Freed from like that granularity to now like, well, just you're loving them and not, causing offense, not whatever. But I mean, it is always just, at the core of the Old Testament believers, it was promise. It was always the promise to come. And us, it's the promise fulfilled. So, I mean, the thief on the cross is in the same vein of the psalmist who, oh Lord, how long? Don't forget me.
Yeah.
Remember me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was laughing because I was processing in my head kind of like the circumcision thing. And the thing that jumped in my mind was like, well, what was it when David brought all the foreskins that he had... I'm like, well, I mean, technically he circumcised them, I guess.
Right.
Does that mean something about...
Like
I'm sorry, but
like forcibly baptizing people.
Yeah.
From a gruesome way.
Which I'm like, I don't think that was like David saying, okay, well, see, look, I brought more
Good
believers into the kingdom right before they deathbed circumcisions. Now there.
Yeah.
Don't leave that one be. So I think it's a.
No. I think we should talk about that. That's an interesting concept.
So it's a little peculiar to me, and this is a feeling, not like a theological argument, but that like
Oh.
in the mod. I know.
Feelings.
Sorry. We're Luther, can't do that.
Yeah, we don't have feelings.
But like, if an evangelical friend today would say, oh well, it's just kind of like me and this belief in Jesus, would be like, well, you want to like look at like the objective means, the sacraments, all this, like the word preached, all that. Like it's not just kind of this like I chose to believe. But
right.
But you have like the Old Testament saints, it almost is that way, where it's like, oh well, they just kind of like believe in the promise. There's no like material reality that like makes that like objective. Like,
well, I mean, he gave them tangible things, circumcision, sacrifices, temple. So I mean, they did have those kind of tangible elements where God did attach His promise to. Where He's like, I will be here amongst you. I will dwell in your midst. I think so. Like, yeah, the evangelical who would come to it and like, oh, it's just this nebulous faith in
Right.
me and Jesus. And I think to circle back then to kind of where Paul goes in the epistle is like, okay, well, your faith, you and Jesus. Well, okay, who is that Jesus?
Yeah.
Like, describe him to me, and then tell me what he says and did, or said and did, says and does. And then, because that's where you can go, like, you know, the people go, oh, I don't need to be baptized, I believe. It's like, well, but Jesus says, be baptized. I mean, even if you don't, like, if you don't hold to any kind of sacramental idea of baptism, I mean, at some point, if Jesus says be baptized, you have to be like, well, I guess I need to be baptized.
Right.
You know, then you can wrestle with, like, well, why?
Yeah.
What is this for?
Mhm.
I think there's a road you can take to get to that sacramental
Right.
understanding.
For sure. It's biblical, of course.
Is there a difference between the faith in the risen Christ and the faith in the Christ that is to come, as it was in the Old Testament?
Well, if you still believe that he is to come, then yeah, it's
Well, I mean,
it wouldn't be. I mean, like the faith of Abraham. Yeah, the same faith. We have the same
Yeah.
faith. That he wasn't, you know, I don't think that Abraham was like, I have faith in the Jesus of Nazareth who will be born to Joseph and Mary,
Right.
you know, in Bethlehem. It was like,
But it was a promise of God.
right. God will send us a deliverer that through me even, somewhere down the road, through my line, he will send a new David, and even though he doesn't know David yet. Yeah.
So if I'm understanding you right, how you answered my question, there's a sense that the Old Testament Mosaic law was a sign of God's a visible sign of God being present with them, and then we have today is kind of a greater fulfillment of that, because not only is God present with you, but that God has forgiven you.
Right.
Okay.
They had other like very immediate ways in which God was with them too.
Yeah,
the clouds and fire.
But it's that upgrade. It's like not only now, because we would say in baptism, in Lord's Supper, the Lord is with us, but now it's even greater. Not only is He with you, but you know that He is.
Right.
In all the
He's
in all the
with
Old
you.
Testament, he was with them, but kind of separate too. It's like
Right.
the God up on the mountain, kind of.
Yeah.
Now he's come down to us. in some
Yeah,
way.
and very frequently was God is with you, and that might not be a good thing because you're being
Yeah.
right now. Like
they're all scared of it whenever they see it.
exactly,
that's right,
yeah.
that's right.
Versus now it's like, and not only you have God's presence, but you have His favor in like a more definitive way. So it's a greater fulfillment of Mosaic law and a greater than Mosaic law. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why, like, if you don't have a good understanding of Jesus, you never want to pray, you know, God, make your presence known, you know, be near me. Be near me, God.
Yeah.
It's like, unless you got Jesus as part of the equation, you probably don't want that. You know, in the same way, you know, God, guide me in your paths. I don't know that that's a wonderful prayer sometimes, because his paths often leads to crosses. I mean, it's a good prayer, but you know, if you're thinking like, God, lead me in the ways of where I'm going to have peace and quiet and everything's going to be calm, like, well, I certainly hope for that God's ways for you involve peace and calm like that. But oftentimes they are through very interesting places that don't involve a lot of peace and calm. Well, I mean, they do, because where do we have it? There you go. Even Mabel knows that answer. Jesus, right, Mabel?
The main takeaway from our day, the answer is Jesus.
That's right.
But it's legitimate for people that don't believe Jesus is God's Son to pray to God the Father, because God sends the good rain on
Yeah.
the righteous and the unrighteous.
Yeah. You know, well, I mean, he hears and answers the prayers of those who believe, who trust in him. I mean, he still blesses those who don't. But yeah, whether or not, you know, I feel weird saying like the prayers of the unbeliever fall on deaf ears, because like, well, God hears everything, but I mean, those prayers aren't being directed, you know, via in the name of Jesus, kind of through that. So, you know, if God happens to answer an unbeliever's prayer, I would say it's not that he's, you know, answering in some kind of faith response, but no, that was God's plan. It just so happened that what they wanted aligned with his workings. That's a whole different sermon.
But yet,
Was that?
okay, but yet there are times where God, can take the earnest prayer of somebody, say to God the Father, who maybe doesn't have an errant or has an errant like theology and can, it still answers those prayers. There's been various testimonials made, say by Muslims who are praying to God,
sure.
in some sense, and God, the true God answers and makes it very clear that Jesus is the
Right.
Son, and so it's not that God can't or doesn't answer those prayers
Right,
at all
right.
times, but it's a different
Yeah.
quality than how he answers prayers to a believer. For
Yeah.
sure.
See the tricky territory.
Oops.
Oh,
Let's get into it. Come on.
Well, no, I was thinking about Mormons.
Yeah.
How they believe that if you just pray to God to send you the confirmation, you read the Book
Right.
of Mormon, you pray,
Right.
is this true? And you'll get the burning in the bosom,
Right.
that confirms.
Mhm.
Which I love that. Yeah, it's if God sends me it's either that or you had Taco Bell too much. But kind of a similar thing where I worry about veering into that
Yeah.
territory where it's that's why God wills and does what he does and
Right.
wills. Paul obviously wasn't, he was, what was he? Was he a believer? Oh, no, I mean, he was of the old covenant, right?
Right.
But, and Paul wasn't praying, but Jesus just bam! Came to him.
That's how he often shows prophets in the Old Testament too. It's just random people sometimes. Where
Yeah.
You will be telling you will be telling Israel my message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What now?
Look at what happened to Jonah.
Oh, Jonah! I love Jonah. Not only reluctant, but just even he was so pissed at the end too.
Yeah, it was.
How dare you!
Yes.
What he says specifically, yes, I do well to be angry enough to die.
Yeah. I love Jonah. Jonah's a great story.
Yeah, it is.
We better let you go get ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Time-
Thank you.
Time marches on regardless.